This is episode 227 of the Fearless Launching Show, and today we're speaking to a coach who helps people find their joy in the most simple sense. That's what he does, is help them tap into their joy. Now, you might think, how does this apply to my launches? How does this apply to my business? But let me tell you something. Finding that joy in the day-to-day is actually going to be your critical difference, the thing that sets you apart, because there's going to be lots of ups and downs, but if you want to be able to identify and feel success, even when you're not there yet, and even when you do reach there yet, instead of chasing this idea of success, then you really want to be able to feel, experience, and embrace the joy in the day-to-day. So if you're ready for a little bit of that, if you want to bring a little bit more joy into your business and your life, then keep listening. I think you're going to love today's really lighthearted interview. Hi, I'm Ann Samoilov, and I've helped some of the biggest online entrepreneurs and business owners have successful 6- and 7-figure product launches by working in the trenches offline to produce movies, TV shows, video games. I've discovered so many different ways to launch creative ideas. And the question is, do you have to copy what your guru says in order to have a successful launch? Do you have to use their done-for-you system in order to have success, in order to achieve your goals in business? I say no. This is the Fearless Launching Show, featuring myself and an ongoing cast of characters, friends who join me in discussing business, launching, life, and balancing it all and having an amazing time doing it. Let's get into today's episode. Okay, welcome to the podcast, Ephraim. Thank you for joining me today. And I am so excited because I have been meaning to have you on here for a while. We finally got our ish together. You're on the podcast. You're here. So welcome.
Woohoo!
Now, Ephraim, you have been, I gotta say, you're a lifer. You're a fearless launching lifer at this point, and
I really am.
You've been in your business actually has taken a lot of twists and turns, and you've created different things over the years. And so, first of all, congrats for doing that, because it takes a lot to do those pivots when you need to, or when you want to, or when you want to embrace new things that you want to do. So, I just want to say I'm excited for the chapter and the season you're in right now.
Thank you. It's crazy how life circumstance just kind of comes in and shakes you around and plays with you.
Yeah, that's for sure, right?
Yeah.
So, Ephraim, before we dive into what I just, because I'm going to basically be picking your brain today and also, sharing a little bit about what you're doing now. But who do you work with? First of all, I think that's the most important thing, because I feel like you are very nimble in the way that you can serve your clients and different people who come into your life who need your support. So who do you generally find yourself working with?
It's interesting, because I sometimes get caught in the idea that who I work with is, a particular person in a particular place. Like, I work with, women of a certain age, or men who are looking for this. And, exactly.
What kind of certain age is that? Just kidding.
Well, it's funny because, when I first started practicing my work, 18 years ago, a lot of my clients were women between ages 35 to 55, and, they were looking to change their world. And at the time I was doing massage. It was kind of like a massage, and combined with energy work and consulting, and we would talk about everything. And
that's what usually happens with, by the way, even when I was teaching Pilates, I'll tell you that it ended up being a coaching session.
Right, exactly. and that was actually why I went into it all in the first place, because I wanted to take people on a spiritual journey or an emotional journey and help them see things. And so much happens in someone's body as anyone who plays with their body knows. It's like, wow, here's all of these emotions, and here's all of this inspiration, and here's all this intuition, and here's all this angst, and here's all this anger, and what do I do with all of this, and where do I take it? And so from the very beginning, that's where I wanted to go. And it's just evolved over the years into all kinds of places.
Do you still work with the same types of people? Or?
Well, it's interesting because I don't necessarily, and I do. It ends up being the people that come to me are the ones that are in some sort of transition in their life, and they start to realize, hey, wait a minute, I am unhappy, and I want some kind of major change, and they may not even know what it is, and they may not even know what area of their life it's in. And it's people of all kinds of ages and genders. And so, early on when I was thinking, oh, look, this looks like it's going to be my demographic. Well, I don't really have a demographic. It's many types of people.
Yeah.
And
well,
so
do they all kind of have, though, a similar, even if they're in different circumstances, maybe what bonds them is that transition, or is that understanding, or that awareness that I'm not really happy.
It is that transition, and I get two types. There are the ones that come and they realize I'm not really happy, and I suspect that there's something really amazing out there. And then I also get people who come and they are already happy and they suspect there's something really amazing out there. And I get to take them to a new level. So it might start with, hello, here's your joy. Let's work with that for a while. And now let's go to what's next. I've been thinking lately so often, joy is just the beginning. It's really just the beginning. And so I love when people come and they're like, I'm already happy. Where can this go from here? And it's like, oh yeah, let's get rich and deep and mouthwateringly delicious.
Yeah. And what I wanted to say is before we, because so you have, like, I feel like a more coaching side of your business, which might include, like, I know the different things that the different modalities and different things that you have that you can kind of, like, in your toolbox that you work with people. And it's intense. I feel like it could be intensely personal. So I know it's hard to kind of just say, like, a general thing, because it's very personal almost from each person. Is that accurate? I mean... So it's hard to say, accurate. I work with people who do this. And you're like, well, I mean, yes, but sometimes no, and probably all the time, and maybe never.
It's a lot like that, yes.
So, but, you created this, you've recently, I feel like it's very recent, like the initial business name that you had was... what was it? Oh my God. Modern Hedonist.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. Modern Hedonist. I was like, make love with your life. No, that was the product. And now you've recently, just because of what you just said about joy, it starts with joy and finding that joy and maybe embracing that. And then, like, where can we go from there? Because that's exciting. But you now have a website, youvegotjoy.com.
Yes.
And with that, you created kind of like that base level to kind of gauge, I guess, where people are at in their search for that joy and that life happiness. Is that what you would think? I mean, is that
it's true. It's I made You've Got Joy
for lots of reasons.
Yeah, to kind of to expand the space, and to, like, people were getting confused about modern hedonist because hedonist just has kind of a negative connotation in our culture. And so
yes,
so
not necessarily. I mean, it does.
It does, and it doesn't. And like, I was on this mission to, like, oh my gosh, hedonism is actually an extremely wonderful spiritual path, and trying to trying to help people understand that just seemed like a waste of effort when what it comes down to is your joy and feeling your joy. And I think so many people don't even realize that in every moment they have access to their joy on some level.
Yeah.
And so You've Got Joy is this assurance almost of, no, really, you've got joy.
Oh, I love
And
that.
can you find it right now? And the answer to that is yes.
You've got
And
it, and you can find it.
You have it, you can find it, and it might take some effort depending on how dark of a place that you're in.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's exciting because if you think about it, like that means you really didn't change your business. You just changed the way that you expressed it so that people could kind of get there. You could be like a little bit more on the nose about it and very like, no, actually, you've got joy. You actually have it. We're going to find it. And so that's why I love what this new subscription that you started and that I receive every single day. I'll look over on my phone. I'll be like, oh, there's a message from You've Got Joy. And it's a subscription. Would you tell us a little bit about it and what it is exactly?
I will. So one of the things that I realized over the years is that people just forget. I mean, the message of You've Got Joy, people forget it when, a second after, or a day, or a week, or, maybe 10 minutes of after they've just felt it. And then they forget that they have access to it. And so this was happening so much that I wanted to create something that just reminded them. Simple and easy. It doesn't have to be anything that you change in your busy life because we're all busy. But here, let me remind you that you have joy. And let me make it at a random time during the day so that I can surprise you too, because joy can be surprising. It's like, wait, exactly. Oh my gosh, having a horrible moment, guess what? You've got joy. Or, right. Or, oh my gosh, already happy? Guess what? You have even more joy.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to make something that touched in every single day in a way that was fairly non-invasive, but still someplace that you see. So it's a text that reminds you that you have joy. And because we get bored with You've Got Joy, You've Got Joy, You've Got Joy, I write something different every day. It's like a little piece of poetry, I like to think. And it's just something that comes in. And I have a theme every month because
yes, I love that.
Our minds, I know, our minds are just so easily distracted. So I have to make it interesting on a daily basis.
Well, you have to do some sort of interrupt to the flow of things so people don't get used to seeing something and be like, oh, okay, there's that You Got Joy thing. It gives them like, oh yeah, this month is this. Okay, cool.
Exactly.
So I love that. So basically, it's a simple monthly subscription where where we receive like a text message or even a couple during the day, like surprise messages that come through your phone, and other things that often will pop up too. And I know you're kind of layering things on. This is a very new offer, really.
It is, and it's kind of a new technology to be able to make it happen on an international level. So there's so much that I'd want it to do.
I didn't even think about that piece of it. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
So
there's some complexity for you. Okay.
It's true. It's kind of the primary reason that I'm in Entreport, because their texting goes worldwide.
Oh, that's actually great. That's really great to know. I didn't know that. So you use Entreport. They have is it like an add-on or something that you pay extra for?
You have to pay for every text. And it's really not a big price, even if it's going to Switzerland, which is actually one of the more expensive countries, if I remember right.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah. And so, you just text away and you can put a bit of money into your kitty, and it just renews itself automatically. So it doesn't even matter if you do it that way.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. And so you have a different theme every month, and just because this is fearless launching, I'm just wondering, what is your, like, I know that part of the whole setting this type of subscription up is getting the system down for just delivering it and the content and what you're going to deliver, and, getting used to that frequency, because it's just like a membership, really, if you think about it. And so my question is, now that, if I don't know, are you still getting used to that process?
I am.
And getting ahead, kind of, because I know that
Exactly.
would be that is my all-time kind of issue with any ongoing activities that I might do in my business. It's just staying consistent and getting ahead as much as possible.
Yeah, it's amazing. Some days it's like, oh my gosh, I need to get the text in, and then other days it feels so spacious when I have them ready to go ahead of time, and I can think about next month or
Yeah.
but it sort of sits there. Unless I get ahead, it's that day to day is much more stressful. So I love being ahead.
Yeah.
And I am getting used to it, and juggling that with, okay, how do I want to be ahead, and I want it to be relevant for the moment.
Right.
So if I get too far ahead, then it's like the poetry changes a little bit,
Yeah.
and so
You might
I don't
have
want
to
to
let go of a little bit of that. I'm going to just say it sucks, because it's like you want to actually have that joyful experience too. So
Yes.
I can imagine that you're struggling. You want to make it joyful in the process of even delivering this, which means that kind of holds you back from being too planned out, but you might have to give a little bit of that up, that joy,
Yeah,
for the joy
I
of
think
your customers.
yeah, I think I will. I think that because I get the text too, of course. So, they
Yeah.
come into me and I'm like, oh, that was a really good one. Or, oh no, a typo.
You're like, what the heck?
Yeah.
You're like,
So,
what?
yeah.
What
So
did I write?
I do have that. And,
Yeah.
and so I still get to participate, even if I am writing ahead. I'd like to be, 3 to 6 months ahead. And I do find that, wait a minute, I want to do a totally new theme. And even
Yeah.
if I am that far ahead, I can, I'm going to whip this out and do something because it feels important to me right now.
Yeah. So then, okay, so that's the content piece of things, which I think is often, especially with memberships, the biggest part of it is making sure that you can stick to the delivering of it and the fulfillment of what people are paying for. And by the way, if you guys want to check this out, I don't even know like what the direct link is, but you can just get there from youvegotjoy.com, right? Or is there a better link to go check out what even we're talking about?
You'vegotjoy.com is great, and it's all just along the top. There's You've Got Joy, and then there's happiness coaching, and then I think there's an about, and a sign up for my
Like newsletter.
newsletter. Yeah.
So the question is, how are you now? This might be putting you on the spot. I'm just gonna say that. Like, what is your vision for how you will start growing even more? Start growing this. Are you going to do any of the typical kind of marketing-y things that you see people doing, or is there a way in which you want to stay happy in this process and joyful as you're releasing this to new people?
Well, that is the key.
Because you got to walk your walk, you got to walk your talk, or whatever the phrase is, because you don't want to be like
Exactly.
struggling over here.
Talking and walking and being authentic.
You're like, I'm friggin' miserable over here, but everybody else is happy.
Right. Well, it's funny because there's a part of me that's just not going to do it if it's not making me happy.
Yeah.
Which might mean that I go through some lean times, but but that's just sort of how it works. And so, like, the things that I have in my mind are things that I've enjoyed participating in the past that have gotten me into things. So, I'll probably increase my presence on Instagram and maybe do some challenges there based on the theme of the
interviews.
month. Yeah, exactly. This is a lot of fun. I think I need to be on more podcasts.
I'm just being a little bit like, I'm trying to be a little bit different than maybe what I usually am in the Fearless Launching group. So I might be a little wackier than normal. So, but I'm doing that on purpose, maybe to throw you off.
All right.
You're like, okay, I'm on edge now. Thanks.
Well, I'll probably put you on edge first.
Yeah, probably. If you know Ephraim, he likes to put people on edge.
Well, I figure I won't swear or anything on this podcast or
Thank
things
you.
like that. Yep. I don't want you to have to put the explicit on there.
That'll be funny. It'll be like, people will be like, oh, it's Ephraim. We get it.
Exactly. Every time I come on, you have the explicit label.
Exactly. That's so funny.
Oh, yes.
That's so funny. So then, okay, so like in your dream of dreams, then what do you envision? Like you get more, like, let's say you're like, okay, because the thing is with memberships, you can, especially if you want people to be kind of, it's like an open subscription, so people can join anytime they want.
Yes.
So that means there's got to be like just like now you're getting used to the content creation and delivery, you'll get used to the monthly, month after month way in which you promote. You've got joy, and you say, hey, this, that you share the upcoming theme and all of that kind of stuff. So other than Instagram, are you going to kind of keep it under email, or what are some other ways that you're thinking about?
Well, it's interesting because I still want it all to be sort of a surprise and a delight and a wonder. And I've made like this little map in Trello of, oh my gosh, these are all the things that I could do every month for each theme to promote it. And Instagram is a piece, and Instagram challenges, and email, and an extra blog post, and maybe some, surprise bonuses every once in a while of, if you sign up by this time, then you get, some extras based on the month. And, then I have little devious ideas about how to expand it for people who think, oh, wow, these texts are really helping me. How can I go deeper? And, something that's more accessible than maybe coaching with me personally. So expanding the membership into groups and, a monthly call, all kinds of stuff. Those are like the things that may or may not happen in the future, but still hold some excitement for me.
You know what I think would be kind of cool, and I'm just going to say it, like maybe there's a way to know, like, let's say someone's been getting your texts for, say, 3 months. Maybe you decide, okay, 3 months, or at the 30-day mark, we're going to send them a special email that says this. And at the 60-day mark or 30-day mark, maybe we say, hey, how are you enjoying these? And maybe at the 60-day mark, I know this is very spread out. I know a lot of people would be more aggressive with it, but you could just say, hey, if you're enjoying these, did you know, if you ever want to take it further, here are some other ways we can work together. Or, or even just texting people saying, hey, we're also going to be emailing you periodically just to kind of check in with you, see how things are going. And those might be really great opportunities to just say, hey, you've been with us for 3 months. Wanna talk?
Yeah, I really like that idea. And I really like not doing it aggressively because, this service is more for people who are busy, and busy people don't want 10,000 emails in 3 days that's saying, right, oh my gosh, sign up now.
Yeah.
And so, just kind of a gentle, hey, how's it feeling right now? And, what would you like to see? And would you like to go deeper?
Yeah, I do think maybe, and I do think maybe trying those under like the email or whatever, because most people are getting, their communication from you through the text, that you could literally just say, hey, it's been a month. Congrats. How are you feeling? What's going, whatever, like just whatever your question is, or maybe like you come up with like check-ins that you can do via email. I would love those. I think those are great ideas.
I really like that idea. And I've been kind of focusing on the idea of making time to celebrate. And those could be major celebration emails too. Like, oh my gosh, it's been a month. How much joy do you have now?
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Yeah. Or still kind of feeling like This is even not even, tapping the surface yet. Just hang tight. And like, it could be a great way to even get some feedback and social proof that you can share with people. Like after 30 days, Anne was a maniac or whatever. I'm just coming up with something random. Anne said,
Yeah.
I'm a maniac. My productivity is through the roof. Thank goodness for You've Got Joy.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! But I know that when on one of our lab calls, we were talking about how it is kind of like this. I don't know what we called it, but I've heard somebody refer to something else as a time release vitamin, but it feels like that, where at first you don't pay attention to, you're paying attention, but you're not really internalizing it. And then over time, you're like, oh, I'm going to sit here and reflect on this now, instead of it just being something that pops into your text. So I feel like there's something that can happen to people as they're, I guess this is where I start to gush about the subscription, because I think it's such a brilliant, simple idea and a way to reach people where you're not in their inbox constantly, where you're not trying to inspire them with 10 million videos, where you're just like, hey, boop, boop, boop. And it's just like, even if you might be thinking about 5 million other things, you get this text and you're just like, oh yeah. Like even in that moment, that might have been like a millimeter of joy, but it's
Right.
still maybe more than you were feeling the second before you received it. And I totally agree that that people might be joyful already and feel like, I embrace my joy, I am happy. But then they get these and they'll be like, oh yeah, that's right. And so it makes them smile a little bit more,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. One of the great things about it is you don't really have to do anything.
yeah,
It shows up and reminds you, and you're already reminded. And then your body starts to anticipate, oh, when is that text going to come today?
Yeah.
I could use some joy, or I could use some more joy. And so your body starts to anticipate. And it's this habit that you create without having to do anything.
yeah, I agree. And I think that what you said is true. Like that is the biggest important piece, is that you don't have to do anything. Actually, you don't even have to. This is going to sound weird, but you don't actually have to even say, I better read this message. Just open it. It's already in.
Yes.
Just open the text and be like, huh. And then it's already in. Even if like your conscious kind of brain hasn't paid attention as much as it should. And I think I shared that with you at the very beginning. That was my experience. I was just like, okay. And I would be on to the next thing. But it was already in there. It's already
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's so cool. It's working. I feel like it's working the way that I was hoping that it would work.
yeah.
And I'm loving watching the life come into it. And I've had other people say similar things of, they talk about the anticipation through the day of what that is, and it makes their whole day more joyful because they are expecting this joy message to show up.
Yeah.
And, I love the idea of that expectation of a joy message, because it's almost like this affirmation of, oh, wait a minute, the universe is actually good, or the whole world isn't out to get me, and if it is, then it's to ambush me with joy.
You better be joyful, gosh darn it.
That's right. I was just tackled by joy. It was amazing.
That's hilarious. No, but I mean, it is amazing that like for less than 2 Starbucks grande drinks in a month, less than 2, you can have like a month of messages and just little thoughts and little tidbits sent to you, like you said, little pieces of poetry sent to you, and experience this without really having to seek it out. You might anticipate and be like, huh, where's my message? Click, and there it is. Where's my message?
Yeah.
And hey, if it comes at that time, perfect, because you were just feeling a little bit cranky, so now you're not. But I think that these, I've received these kinds of things over the years, things that I've signed up for. So I wanted to share these with you, because one of them was Message from the Universe, I think is one of them. It's just through email. And I remember when I stopped or when the frequency changed and I was like, I didn't get my message from the universe today. And being a little bit annoyed by it. But then I was like, oh, okay. It was free in. You got that in your inbox. And maybe over time they changed their frequency. So that's fine. And then there was another one that I signed up for, and it was like a productivity tip or message at the beginning of every single day. I don't remember who sent that out, but I remember the text. I do remember the text when they said, we will no longer be sending these. You've reached the end, or something like that. And I was like, what? And I got cranky. So just be aware, you're in this now.
That's right. It's never going to stop.
You're like, oh, snap. I didn't realize that. But you know what I mean? So I feel like more and more people are seeking out easier ways to just, instead of saying, okay, I'm going to meditate, or I'm going to do this thing that, even if it seems like a simple action, it takes effort. Like, not to say you want to breed people not wanting to make an effort to be happier, but this is one of those ways that kind of just sneaks in. So I love it.
Yeah. And I love you've mentioned productivity a couple of times, and I'm becoming more and more convinced that joy is one of the most powerful productivity tools we have. Mm-hmm. I notice on days when I am running higher and in better flow and feeling joyful and happy that I get at least twice as much done as I did, the day before when I, was tired and annoyed and frustrated and overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And sure. and then there's the days when I manage to start out maybe a little rugged and then shift into joy, and the difference in my productivity and overall well-being just changes so dramatically to once you shift. Like, one of the things I thought about with Make Love With Your Life, when you can just connect in with a breath, and with You've Got Joy, you just connect in with a breath, and it that can be like the moment between Pomodoros where,
right.
You take your 5 minutes off, breathe and connect, and, eat an apple, and then all of a sudden you're back and you're full of joy. You got a little food and ready to rock it for another half an hour.
Yeah, definitely. You know what I was just thinking that might be a great idea. I didn't realize we're going to have a brainstorm session here, but I'm going to just tell you that there might be even yet another type of You've Got Joy message that you could do, where you could do like the morning joy or the evening joy. Like, people have their morning routines. That becomes that ritual. And so to have another tool to support that would be amazing. Like, you're like, okay, so you're signed up for the, maybe there's like the random ones that like you just need it throughout your day, and we're going to, it's going to get to you at the right time. Or you can choose like morning or kind of like evening. I don't know about that, but I would love that personally, the morning ones, because I'm up super early usually.
Oh, so someone who signs up and they actually want the 6 a.m. text, because I try to avoid that.
I guess that's the thing. It's like, it is coming in text, maybe not 6 a.m., but like maybe it's like 8 a.m., But yeah, I see what you're saying, because it's on their phone and you're like, I really want to text people at that time. But I really remember that productivity one that came in the morning, it was pretty early, but you could tell people, make sure to turn off notifications, turn off your phone notifications. So there's like, mine is set so that nobody will ring into my phone before 7:30.
Right. Yeah, that's a good idea. And then, then you have parents or of teenagers who never turn their phone off because who knows?
Oh,
and
gosh.
I don't want to wake them up.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to wake them up. You're like, sleep is kind of important.
They need every ounce of sleep possible.
You're like, you're decreasing my joy, Ephraim.
Exactly.
But maybe someone does sign up for that intentionally and just says, no, I want a 6 a.m. text.
Right.
It just depends on the person. Like, most people are going to be like, okay, I'm good with anything between, 10 and 7. whatever
Yeah.
for people. So I guess that's all something that you can work out. But I want to ask you kind of just to wrap up. I know our conversation was short. We generally, like, we're in the Fearless Launching Lab, so we always have really long conversations with the whole group in there. But I want to know, beyond this, You've Got Joy, the daily text subscription, what other projects are you working on? I know you're working on some other stuff because you've been sharing a little bit about that. You said happiness coaching. Well, what's that
Yes.
about? What's that about?
Well, that's for someone who wants to go deep and really explore their joy on multiple levels. And that question of, that statement of joy is just the beginning. That's really the chance to dive into, okay, so what's beyond joy, and how can I feel this all the time, and how can I make it full body, and how can my life be so alive and ecstatic and full of the signs and symbols and desires of me that it's almost overwhelming. It's perhaps the answer of how much joy or how much pleasure can I receive?
Right.
Let's find out.
What's my capacity for that?
Yeah, let's find out. And actually, I was reading something recently about how joy and pleasure in our culture are maybe it was Brene Brown that was talking about it, is perhaps the most difficult thing for us to really experience and accept right now.
Interesting.
I know, isn't that crazy? Like you get together with a group of your friends and you talk about, oh my gosh, look at all the bad things that happened to me. I know this doesn't always happen, but often it's all laced in with, let me tell you about my drama. And how often is it, let me tell you about this amazing, joyful thing. And how much more vulnerable we feel talking about joy than we do talking about the guy that cut us off on the freeway.
Oh my gosh, totally. Like, it's so easy, it's so much easier to commiserate rather than celebrate.
Yeah, it really is. Yep.
There's something there. I bet you could create a tweetable there somewhere.
I think so.
Or a shareable, like celebrate over commiserate. Something like that. Something like that. And
I like that.
And people just go to youvegotjoy.com to go check that out and go, get to know you. And is your Instagram on your site as well? Is there a link over to that?
I hate to admit it might not be, but my Instagram is @thejoyspecialist.
Okay. Oh, the Joy Specialist. Yes, I forgot about that. You know what? It's actually kind of funny. You're like, if it's not there, it's because it didn't bring me joy.
Right. I have not found the joy yet to modify my Instagram link.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That is so funny.
But it is at the bottom of all my emails that I send, quite infrequently, maybe once a month or so. there may be more that show up, but it is always on the bottom of that.
Well, I love this. I love this whole conversation. I actually can't wait to see how the subscription turns. I really feel like it's probably more of a membership is really what you're building out. And I can't wait to see all the things you're going to be doing this year with it.
I know. I can't wait either.
I'm sorry, just the way you said that. That is hilarious. See, do you hear how much joy is in my laughter right now? Oh my
so
goodness. Great. That's great. Well, definitely keep us posted. Let us know how things are going. I'm going to make sure to put all the links for everything so people can check you out. And just if you do click over there and you do message Ephraim, make sure to tell him that Ann sent you. Just say, I want joy. Give me.
Absolutely. And I want to thank you too, Ann, because being involved with you over, me being a lifer and doing pretty much everything that you've ever done, and the group that you've created in Fearless Lab is probably my greatest support at this moment in my life.
Oh, well, I feel like honestly, that group is everything for us.
It
I
it,
love
it
it.
really is.
I love it. And
Yeah.
I'm so glad that, and I definitely see that support from the other members. And, I try to give that as well, but it's not even just me. There's a ton of people in that group who are just, your champions.
I know. It's like we're all championing each other all the time, and it's so fun in there. It's just,
Yeah.
I think, yeah, it's my favorite group.
Oh, well, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. I love to hear that. And yeah, I definitely love it too. I love giving the support. I actually just love witnessing. My joy is in witnessing you guys support each other too. Little fun fact for you there.
Yeah. Well, and I think that the amount of joy and love that you bring into it is what makes it so amazing.
Oh,
Like we're all in love with each other in there.
it's like a huge love fest, guys. Come
It
on
totally
in.
is.
Come on in. Oh, wait, there's no way really to get in yet because I haven't fully figured out how to make sure that brings me joy to invite a bunch of everybody in there. So,
Right.
but
So
we're
they
going
just have to
to,
start early. They have
but
to
we're,
start early, and the progress to you Fearless Lab equals be a lifer.
exactly. Can you dig that? Just kidding. Can you
Yeah.
handle that?
Can you dig it?
I have not even said, I don't even know why I said that. That is so bizarre. Anyways, if you want to be laughing like this and enjoying your day and feeling more joy, definitely visit youvegotjoy.com and get to know Ephraim and heck, join us in the Fearless Launching Lab as well. But
Yes.
you're going to have to reach out to me to find out how to do that because there's no public way to do that just yet.
Well, I love that. It's mysterious and yeah.
And accessible, but possibly not.
Yes.
So there you go. Okay, Ephraim, thank you so much. I'm sorry for this wacky, weird conversation towards the end here, but hopefully
Oh my goodness,
you've
I wouldn't have
enjoyed
it any other
yourself.
way.
Hopefully you've enjoyed yourself, and
I have.
I'm hoping everyone here will go check out You've Got Joy and start experiencing that. Even in a text, you will be shocked at the value of that and how much you will look forward to those messages. Yeah, that's it. Thanks, Ephraim.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode with Ephraim, the Joy Specialist. Now, if you want to check out his daily joy texts that we were talking about, they really do work, and they're very sneaky how they work. But I want you to head over to youvegotjoy.com without the apostrophe and just check out what he's got in terms of that. I'm just going to say from a personal standpoint, I think it's like $7 or $8 a month, and you get daily texts to remind you to stay in that moment, stay in the day-to-day, and really you get some crazy guidance that you might not expect that can come through just a simple text. And also, if you want to become a lifer like Ephraim and like others that I have had on this podcast, a lifer in Fearless Launching, your first step is actually to check out a very free and available whenever you want it masterclass. We are going to be changing that out very soon, so you're going to want to check it out in its current form right now. AnnSamuelov.com/masterclass. And of course, if you have any questions or if you have any comments about today's episode, make sure to head over to AnnSamuelov.com/227 and check out the links, get to know Ephraim, and ask your questions. Your joy is important, okay? And I can say that over the last month, my joy has been more important, and part of the growth that I felt and experienced, and it was simple. It was literally just important to like embrace that I still had joy left in me. That's a longer conversation. I hate to be a tease about it, but we will talk about that much later. Have a great rest of your week, and here's to experiencing a little bit more joy. Take care.